Hey guys, and welcome back to Brexit, Brexit England, Northern Ireland, and Eastern Europe. And in Brexit England, we have sent one of our singers to the Eurovision Song Contest. And I wonder what's going to happen there then. Could it be the nil pois again, like they always do? Because before we left the EU, right, we was getting all the nil pois because people always thought, yeah, we was a bunch of stuck up, xenophobic, bigoted losers. That's how the Europeans looked at us. And then, right, we took it upon ourselves to go and leave the institution that made this country the most money every year. We decided we were going to go and leave that because we're damn well better than those people. So tonight we're sending, what's his name? I think Sam Baker, right? He's got like a Jesus look going on, but that's like white Jesus, because black Jesus started in my house. Because my mum and dad, in my mum and dad's house, they used to have a picture of black Jesus, right? And I can always remember as a kid, yeah, like for the first time seeing the white Jesus, I was like, oh, white people have got their own Jesus, eh? Well, okay. That's how I looked at it, right? And then when I heard about Muhammad, I was like, everything makes sense now. made a lot of sense, right? But no, we're sending. I think he's called Sam Baker, and he's an absolutely fantastic singer. I mean, this guy's really good. He really is good, right? But still, it don't matter how good the act is, right? I'm right. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say, you know what? We're gonna get some nil. But actually, right, the Ukrainians are going to vote very heavily for us, right? And because of the war in the Ukraine, right, that might actually give us a few extra votes. We'll have to see on Monday because today is Friday the 13th. So be careful out there. But let's say good luck to Sam because, like, obviously he's not going to win because it's obvious who's going to win. The Ukrainians are going to win, right? And they're coming over with a song that's like a flex between, like, I believe, a traditional Ukrainian music and hip hop. You see, the blacks are always there. And welcome back to By Any Means Necessary. Thank you so much for all your messages you sent me, and a special thanks here to everybody who signed up to my channel. I feel so blessed with so much people that signed up, so thank you so much for that. I'll go through all your messages. I'll answer as many as I can, but I will like all your messages for definite. And Boris, and we've got the cost of living crisis, and Boris Johnson has come up with a new thing now to say, you know what, this is how we're going to tackle this now. We're going to get this thing by the horns, right, and we're going to drag it over here, we're going to drag it over there, and we're going to dig it down there, and we're going to pull it back up again, right, and we're going to get people sorted, right, and make sure that we can help people through the cost of living crisis. So what are we going to do, Boris? Well, we're going to get rid of 91,000 civil servants. What? What? Hey? Yeah, going to save us £3.5 billion, and that money, right, is going to go to people. What? So, where the hell are you going to get 91,000 civil servants to, first of all, to get rid of? I mean, and how's that going to help people out immediately, right? Because these civil servants are probably going to be working in places like maybe the passport office where they're really struggling at the moment, or maybe I don't know, the DVLA, who's struggling even more at the moment. Or maybe, some civil servants from the hospitals. I don't know, maybe the dustmen, and maybe some dustmen, and I mean, it's not like these people employ that much people, but that's what they're talking about. 91,000 civil servants. So Boris Johnson's just basically just throwing his dummy out, right? Kicking his toys right out the pram and just saying to us, you know what, yeah, you fucking bastards, right? This is how I'm gonna motherfucking punish you. Stop fucking asking, right, for a government to fucking help you, right? Or we're going to get rid of 91,000 of your lot. Because this is all working class people. This is all punishing. Who else? Who else is going to be at the brunt of this? You know, and they're all in there. They're all in there just to agree. And saying, really? So MOTs, MOTs every 2 years, right? The option to spoil your neighbour's plans, right? By giving you the option to, levelling up, of course, by giving you the option to vote on your neighbour's extension. And say, well, yeah, give me the chance to vote on my neighbour's extension, right? After last week, me and him nigh on come to a fist fight over a parking space. Right? And in a month's time, you want me to sign off on his extension. Now, do you think I'm going to be bitter? Right. All I say, right, have you ever watched Neighbours from Hell? Right. If anybody have ever watched Neighbours from Hell, you would never even think of coming up with an idea like that in this country. So much people in this country can't get on with their neighbours, right? And you're going to go and give the neighbours the vote to say, well, what do you reckon? Should we let them do it? Should we let them build that flashy extension so they can rub it in our faces, right? When they've got every 3 years they get in their brand new Focus estate. They rub it in their faces. Come on, man, seriously. These guys what ideas have they actually come up with? Because how long have I been saying Boris Johnson is completely out of ideas? He has no ideas left. Right? He's all out. He's just like, all out. What's out my hands now? So I'm going to see what Liz Truss can come up with. But I can't think of anything else. That's where Boris Johnson is. So I mean, for him to come up with the ridiculous idea that they're going to get rid of 91,000 civil servants. I mean, you have to say, well, what did they do? What is it that these civil servants do? That you could say, well, you know what? Yeah, well, because this sounds like it's some more of that thing what David Cameron brought in, right? When they come down and they close down all the services, and they close all the libraries, right? And what was it called? Austerity measures. That's what that sounds like. Get rid of, Remember, I suppose he might be going to get rid of the how much, 21,000 police officers he said he's going to employ, or whatever it is. But they keep failing to tell you that, every year thousands of police officers naturally retire, or, get sick, or, or just leave the service. And, there's thousands that do that. So, so really, whatever numbers you're talking about, you're virtually talking about, you have to talk about double if you want to get back to where they was before, I don't know, before this lot took over. Do you know what I mean? Because they've come and they've just cut, and now they want to get rid of another 91,000 civil servants. Whoa. But we bring these governments in, right, and we allow them to do actually you bring these governments in, because I've never voted for the Tories. I wouldn't vote for the Tories because they're a bunch of fucking racists. That's why I wouldn't vote for them, right? And then, right, if you look at now the way how they're dealing with this country, clearly they have no clue what they're doing, right? I mean, it's not just now that this country has become the worst run country in the world, right? Because most other countries haven't sold off all of the crown jewels, right? So it's not just now, but out of all the times that this country has been run badly, this is the worst that it's been run badly. I don't think that you could ever experience, right, a prime minister as bad as Boris Johnson ever, because Boris Johnson is completely incompetent. So I don't think you can experience another prime minister that's going to be as bad as Boris Johnson. I just don't think you can. And and that's the reason why, number 10 Downing Street is the most fined COVID building in this country. Because the police just issued another 55 fines, I think, yesterday. Boris Johnson didn't get one, though. And then, well, the Prime Minister didn't get a fine. Oh, so that's a boasting point now. The point is boasting. Right? You've got the building in the country, right, that has received the most COVID fines. And you're boasting about the Prime Minister didn't get one. I mean, the police haven't even finished yet. I think this was just two parties where this has happened so far. So the police haven't even finished yet. And look how long the Sue Gray report has been held back. Right? Isn't it strange, right, how these guys like Boris Johnson and Donald Trump, right, get a real amount of just overload of white privilege. Right? Donald Trump, right, caused an insurrection, right, in his country. Right? If I was in power, right, I don't understand how Biden didn't have him arrested the next day and have him in an orange jumpsuit immediately. Right? And all of those people that was around him, every last one of them. If you go to some third world African or Asian nation, right, and their president or their prime minister done that, right, they would immediately put them in prison, right? And you're talking about countries where they're supposed to be, right, the world's greatest democracies, right? And you could have an insurrection. In the same way, in this country, right, you could have a prime minister who is charged, right, by the police, right, with, breaking COVID laws, right, and they drag their feet, right. The Sue Gray report is just being covered. Where's the Sue Gray report? I mean, did any of this, right, seriously need to be like take all this time, right? When you've got police officers letting people into Downing Street, right? So they've got all the evidence there right in front of them because it's all on video. Everything is all on video, right? And if that was you or I, well, definitely if it was me, right, I would have been charged that very afternoon. I would have been into my sentence now. I'd have been well into my whatever sentence. I would have been well into it. Right? The police have got all the evidence. They've got it all, right? But yet for all, they have to send out questionnaires. These countries have got more corruption. Right? I can remember when David Cameron said, I think he was speaking to the Queen, and they said that he was speaking about Nigeria, and he said, oh yes, it's still fantastically corrupt. He wasn't speaking about Nigeria. He was talking about this country, because this country is fantastically corrupt. You tell me, right, that we're in a country where they can give £37 billion to their friends, their donors, right, and then they could say, well, you know what? To get you out of the financial crisis, we're going to get rid of 91,000 civil servants, right, to net £3.5 billion. Say what? Seriously? So you handed out more than 10 times that to a small amount of people. I mean, compared to the population in the country, right? Look what they done compared to the population of the country. Look what they done. 37 billion, right? And now, right, working class and poor people, right, are going through the hardest times in their life, and all they can come up with, we're going to get rid of 91,000 staff and we can give you 3.5 billion. And people in this country, right, vote for that shit. Now, I'm going to ask the question again. Is it because they say nice things to you about immigration and you just think to yourself, yeah, that's right, we can get rid of the blacks and all the bloody Asians and all people who speak a fucking funny language? Hate the fucking lot of them. All of them. Hate them. Let's get rid of them. Right? Even though we're getting shafted by these people on a daily basis. But you know what? Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that at all. And then we move over to the NHS. It's being crushed under the weight of patients. Because, you know, ambulances are stacked up outside. 10, 15 ambulances stacked up waiting to drop people off. They haven't got enough cubicles. They haven't got enough staff. And why do you think that is? Because we decided, you know what, we're going to punch the Europeans in the face so we can get the fuck away from them. Right? And now people don't want to come and work here. They're having real problems in recruitment. And you know, before COVID, right, the NHS was already stuffed before COVID, because these guys over the last 12 years, yeah, have defunded the NHS, and they've made sure, right, that it's not working over the last 12 years, right? And even when the people of this country have been warned you're going to lose your NHS, they're like, oh, let me just think, racism or health? Racism or health? And you thought to yourself, you know what, let's go racism, even though we know it's going to fuck us up. Right? And look at the position that you've put this country in. You know, we've already gone off the cliff. We've gone over, right? Because the amount of damage that has been done, right? You know, the amount of, you know, it's just unbelievable, right? The amount of damage that's been done, and it's been done with the consent of the people of this country. You've done it, you've done it to yourself, right? And you know me already, right? I'm actually finding this quite funny. Okay, that's the real truth, right? I don't think anybody's enjoying Brexit as much as me. I'm quite sure they're not. Right? Because you know what? I knew exactly what was going to happen. And Britain was going to be exposed, right, to the little racist, bigoted island it really is. Sorry, England was going to be exposed to the little racist, xenophobic, bigoted island it is. And that's what's happening. And that's what's happening to us. Right? And that's why we can't get no staff in the NHS. Right? You know, we've allowed them to, you know, to sell off all the hospital buildings, right, and put housing in all these places, right? You know, putting maternity hospitals in with, like, you know, with your, you know, where your general hospitals are, and all those things there. All these things was all set up in a way, right, that it used to work properly. Right? Now all they've got is bare administrators in hospitals. So many administrators, more administrators than doctors and nurses and porters. Right? But you know, because that's what should be in the hospital. I mean, it doesn't take right, brain science to work this out. Right? You know, even the, like, you know, the sending out the kitchens, right, from hospitals, and having one central kitchen or whatever, so they could privatize. So basically privatize it. Right? Where they should just have the kitchens in the hospitals and cook food like they used to in the olden days. That's what they used to do. They used to employ people in the hospitals, right, to cook the food. Right? The only people that you really need in the hospital, right, is, you know, doctors, nurses, and porters, right, and you know, the people who are all the specialists, right, and then you just need an administrator, right, and a manager and an accountant. Right, for each ward or whatever it is, right? But these people are overloaded with staff, right? And then they wonder why it's being crushed under the weight of patients. It's being crushed under the weight of patients because, you know what, they have deliberately done this to the service, right? But they've done it, right, with the blessing, right, of all the damn racists. Right. So if you want to look and if you want to wonder, right, how these things has happened to this country, look no further than a mirror, because that's how this has happened. It happened because you have made this happen. It looks like Putin is furious over the war games, right, that are going on right outside his territory. Right. And I looked at that and I thought to myself, mankind hasn't learned a motherfucking thing. We're in the 21st motherfucking century, the 22nd year in the 21st motherfucking century, right? And I'm looking at this and thinking to myself, this looks like the fucking 1930s, right? We could go back to even the First World War. Has mankind really learnt nothing? I don't think they have. don't think they have. Do you know what I mean? You know, it just seems that all they ever want to do is just spend money on wars. They can always find money for a war, right? But they can't find a goddamn penny for you. Nothing at all. And you know, one of the worst things, right, about the working classes and the poor is the fact that they're too good to take money off the social. They're like, how dare, right, I'm not taking the money off social. I work for my money. I work for my money. I work for it. Right? All of it. Take no money off the social. Do you think that the Queen has got those standards? Or the royal family? Jacob Rees-Mogg, Rishi Sunak, Boris Johnson, Liz Truss. Do you think any of them have got those standards? They take as much taxpayers' money as they... I'm not talking about their wages. I'm talking about all their expenses and all them types, and they take as much as they can get. Right? You think the Queen has ever said, "Oh no, don't worry about it. Just leave that money. I don't want it. No. No, the Queen will be like, "Oh, see that money over there? Is that anybody's? Can I? Is that anybody's? Can I take that? I mean, it's got my face on it." Right? Because the working class are too motherfucking proud to say, "Oh, no, because they're damn idiots." But listen, Putin is furious about the war games and the fact that Finland will soon be a member of NATO, and that will teach his ass a good lesson, right, in how not to go around the world upsetting people, right, and right, committing war crimes. One of his soldiers is, I think, up in Ukraine today for one of the first war crimes trials since quite a long time. And since we've had a war crimes trial, but he's up, a young guy, only 22 years old, right, murdered some 60, I think a 63-year-old to steal a car or something like that. Liz Truss has told the EU she has no choice, right? Because you remember she gave them 72 hours to comply. Right? She's told them now, you have no choice. She has no choice other than, right, for her to revoke the Irish protocol, right, in, well, she's got what, 48 hours, probably 48 hours, well, because she pointed her finger in their face and said they got another 48 hours or whatever to comply, right? And the EU warned Northern Ireland's place in the single market is at risk. And the DUP is like, yay! And the people of Northern Ireland are like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you people doing? I think the DUP are trying their hardest to provoke the other side to come out and start fighting against them. I think that's got to be part of the plan, because now, if the EU do chuck Northern Ireland out, because of the games that England is playing, because that's the reason why. It's because the games that England are playing, right? Because we signed, right, the trade deal. So we signed the Northern Ireland Protocol. You know, there was no reason to sign that, right? And every single Remainer was saying, "What are you doing?" Because you said that you said that there'll be no borders, and no borders in the Irish Sea, no hard borders, nothing, right? You said that, and Boris Johnson was like, "Oh no." If they, if what did he say? If there was, if they had any forms to fill in, right? He said this one day. If they had any forms, you bring those forms to me, right? And people and these Brexiters, right, are still, even though, right, they've seen the catastrophe this man has caused, they're still backing him up. Right? Well, now the EU have warned the island's place. Right. And this is the first time I've heard them say this, because they haven't really been going here before. But now they're just saying, you know what, yeah, if that's the case, right, because there's no way, right, that the people of Northern Ireland want that. There is absolutely no way that they want that, because it is going to be devastating, right, for Northern Ireland, right, to not be in the EU. It will be completely devastating for them. Their trade, they're doing nicely on trade, right? They've got the best of all worlds at the moment, right? I don't understand, right, why the DUP, right, are threatening Northern Ireland's place, right, within the EU, because that's what this has come down to now. The DUP and England, right, are threatening Northern Ireland's place within the EU, and I don't understand how, just seeing what's happened to us, right, over here, right, we're looking like a bunch of fucking idiots already, right, and they want to bring that onto Northern Ireland as well. I mean, the DUP, there's some fucking basket cases. There's some fucking crazy arses. Right, that's what they are. They're really they're real idiots. The US Congress is to intervene over the Irish Protocol. Right, and I mean, if Boris Johnson looks stupid to me, look, I don't know if Boris Johnson looks stupid to you. He might look like the smartest person in the room, in the world. Right, you might look at Boris Johnson and see a fucking halo. Right? But when I look at Boris Johnson, right, I look at someone who looks like they've slept in the only suit they've got, and they've turned up to a party, and they're the person who smells. That's how I look at Boris Johnson, and that's how I've always looked at Boris Johnson. I've never thought that Boris Johnson looks prime ministerial, because he doesn't even look prime ministerial. Right? He looks like a big tub of lard. Right, just completely, a completely ridiculous sight for us to be seen as our representative worldwide. Right, and now look, right, you've got the U.S. Congress having to intervene, right, over the Irish Protocol, right, intervene in our business, right, over the Irish Protocol, right, because in the first place, right, everybody knew, right, that what Boris Johnson was signing, right, was going to cause so many problems. Everybody knew that, right? But right, they all stood by and watched him sign it. Even Labour, right? They voted for it, right? So none of these politicians, right? All these politicians that have caused these problems, and what we're expecting these dicks to get us out of these problems. Seriously? Like, this country, right, needs a complete rethink, right? Because these guys can't get us out of these problems, right? And Labour's helped put us into these problems by going along with this. Labour should have never went along with this. They should have said, no, we're not going along with that. We've got different plans. We're not going to tell you what they are, but our plans are different. Right? And then, let Boris Johnson go, and then afterwards they come up with something different afterwards. But this is just completely ridiculous. And now the US Congress, imagine how stupid Boris Johnson looks in front of Biden, because they've all seen Boris Johnson sign this agreement. They've all known what he's done. Everybody knows what he's done. And, even now, right, the EU just said to England yesterday, look, you know something, yeah? You are talking about Russia breaking international treaties and international laws and all this, right? But then you want to come and break and revoke or break these the Irish Protocol. So it's not for turning, right? There's nothing to be changed in it. You signed it. That's it. That's what the EU have said. That's it. You signed it, right? Just deal with it. That's it. Done. Anyway, guys, look. Today is Friday the 13th, so I want you all to be very, very, very careful out there. This is By Any Means Necessary. I'm the MC John Ribbs. It was really nice to speak to you guys. Comments below.